Hi, I'm here with Cortney Cameron. She's a master's graduate from Department of Environmental, Earth, and Geospatial Sciences, and we're going to be talking about her experiences as a master's student and then some of the advice she can lend to current and future master's students. A couple things I remember about Courtney. Courtney came to us as a transfer student who did some credits at ECU. I know she did some internship opportunities, and she was really active in publishing and presenting her work with Dr. V in geology and some other students. So, those are some of the things that I remember. It's been about 2 or 3 years since she's left us, and from that, I'll let her start. But I just wanted to ask, what's your name and where are you from?
Thanks, Dr. Maroney. My pleasure to be here. So my name's Courtney Cameron. I grew up near the Boone, North Carolina area. I now live about an hour north of Tampa in Florida.
Oh, cool. What's your current position, and what do you do on an everyday basis?
Sure. So my current position is a staff hydrogeologist with the Southwest Florida Water Management District. That's a public agency in the state of Florida that deals with water resources. Part of my day-to-day activities as my job would involve downloading, collecting, and analyzing all kinds of data, hydrologic, geologic, climate data, building models with that, and using the results to develop recommendations related to environmental protection. And those types of regulations help us ensure that the environment is protected, but also that people continue to have safe drinking water available.
Okay. What did you study at NCCU when you were here with us?
So I received a master's degree in earth science. My thesis was based on assessing relationships between seismicity and hydrology in the eastern Tennessee seismic zone. A lot of the data analysis skills that I learned as part of that have fed directly into my job.
Cool. What advice would you give to students looking to pursue their master's degree?
So in general, I think probably obvious advice is to try to tailor your research and your coursework to your interests and the type of field that you'd like to end up in. I think something that's perhaps less obvious is when you're looking for a program to look for a personality fit as well. So as part of your master's degree, you'll be working very closely with your advisors and your committee. You want to make sure that you feel supported. You'll be spending 2 years of your life at the program, and you want to make sure that you're happy during it and that you have everything you need to succeed, not just as a scientist, but also as a person.
Cool. What advice would you give to any students looking to pursue their master's in the DEGS at NCCU specific to our department?
Sure. Well, my advice, first of all, would be great choice. I had a fantastic experience at the department. All of the professors were extremely supportive, again, of me, not just as a scientist, but also as a person. I really liked that they work with non-traditional students without compromising any quality of the education. Two things specific to the program that come to mind that I'd encourage students to do is one, there's a lot of great classes at Central, but don't forget there's also an interinstitutional agreement that lets you take classes at no additional cost relative to your Central tuition at Duke, Chapel Hill State, and a couple of other schools. So I was able to take advantage of that to take a couple of niche classes at Chapel Hill, which I really enjoyed. The other thing is to definitely take advantage of any internship opportunities and also conference opportunities that you receive. Thanks to Central, which was very active in helping me to receive funding for both internship travel as well as conference travel. I was able to visit all kinds of neat places. At conferences, again, the travel aspect is really fun, but it's also great in building presentation skills. So you meet a lot of interesting scientists and learn that way, but you're also presenting your science and learning how to communicate effectively. And later, when you're interviewing for a job and they ask you, are you a good communicator? You'll have some specific examples that, yes, I can communicate complex ideas well because I did so at this conference or conferences.
Cool. And if I remember right, you did a internship overseas. Can you talk about that a little bit and who helped facilitate that and what you did there?
Yes, so that was one of the highlights of my career at Central. I was able to embark on an internship in Italy with the University of Trieste. So Dr. V and a postdoc at the time, Dr. Enrico Brandmeier, helped set that up. I was able to receive funding to go over there for 1 month and study under world-class seismologists, learning how to use some of their software and analyses that they use. We again focused on the Eastern Tennessee seismic zone. So not only did I learn a lot in terms of the research that I was focusing on with seismicity and so on, of course, the cultural experiences were very eye-opening. It was the first time that I had really gone at any great length to another country. At the same time, it was wonderful to have the local connections, since Central had set me up with a network of professors in the area and people who were familiar with it. I had access to everything that the locals knew, things that tourists might not know about. So I was able to find all the best places to eat, all the best places to go hang out and whatnot. So again, not only with these internships that Central facilitates, not only do you get the best in terms of research and science building, you also, at least in my case, had an insight for the recreational aspects as well.
Oh, cool. As a member of the workforce, and you alluded to this before, what are some of the important soft skills that you'll need to succeed out in the quote-unquote real world?
Soft skills? Okay, so for soft skills, I think a couple of key ones come to mind that were a little surprising to me transitioning from a student to a professional. One of them is how much teamwork is emphasized. I think in school we do work in teams, but oftentimes we end up kind of working on our own. And in the professional field, the projects can be so large that not only are they difficult to do on your own, but you wouldn't want to. So learning how to work with other people to delegate specific tasks, know what you're good at and know what other people are good at so you can all tackle a problem together is a really useful skill. Related to that is knowing how to ask for help. That was a problem that I've always had, at least as a student and to a lesser extent now, but you don't like feeling like you don't know everything, but quite frankly, knowing everything is impossible. And even people who've been working in the field for decades don't know everything. But what they do know is who to ask, who is the expert in a particular niche that they're not familiar with, and they can reach out and get the information they need. And that really helps you be a well-rounded professional to be able to tap different resources like that.
Cool. A lot of times with our students, we talk about like an aha moment where, you say, geology, or in my case, GIS, this is what I want to do for a living and make money off of. What was an aha moment that you had where you decided the geosciences and maybe hydrogeology was something that you wanted to pursue as a career?
Well, I grew up, as I mentioned, near Boone, North Carolina, so in the mountains, basically. I lived in the foothills of the mountains, and they were ever present in my life. And we also lived close to a river, so from a young age, there was always this fascination with geology and water. And hydrogeology, of course, comes at the intersection of those. Of course, I wouldn't call that fascination geoscience at the time, but looking back, I see that that's what I was interested in. My aha moment, though, actually came incidentally when we went on a vacation to a beach in Florida. At the time, I was a psychology major, and I was sitting on the beach with some of my family, a very crowded beach, and I was just picking up handfuls of sand and really looking at all of the different grains and all the different shapes and types of materials that I could see, and I thought, geology seems like it would be a lot more interesting to study, and I pretty much switched my major as soon as I got back, and one of the best decisions of my life for sure. Geology and hydrogeology are very fun and cool fields to be in.
Oh, cool. Are there any other things you wanted to add about your experiences at Central? Some, professional advice that you want to give to our students that we hadn't talked about yet?
Sure. So I would like to say that, again, the skills I developed at Central have fed directly into my job. Excel is frequently used in the workplace, and Esri products are, so ArcMap and now moving to ArcGIS, I use those on a daily basis. I can't tell you how valuable being familiar with those Excel and Esri products has been as a member of the workforce. Another thing I'd like to point out is if you're going into geology, sometimes they don't talk about this in undergraduate, but consider licensing. So geologists in many states are licensed, and at Central, depending on your bachelor's degree, you might be able to work towards licensure, hitting the requirements and coursework by setting yourself up at Central to hit those requirements. So keep that in mind if you want to work as a geologist. And then the last thing I'd like to add is working in geology and hydrogeology has been a wonderful experience for me. I've been working as a professional for about 3.5 years, and I actually enjoy going to my job every day. It's meaningful work. I feel like I'm making the world a better place, and I'm earning a decent living while doing so. I do think, there's probably some other fields, maybe computer programming or something where you could make a lot more money, but I doubt that you would get the same kind of satisfaction, or at least that I would get the same kind of satisfaction that I do working with the environment and helping to make sure our water resources are protected.
Oh, great. Well, that's about it for my end of thing. My experiences with Courtney, she presented, she wrote papers in a couple of journals. She co-authored a paper with Richard, who we'd interviewed previously. So, she surrounded herself with really good people. Dr. Brandmeier, Dr. V, Richard were some people, and I think her success was a result of everyone's success, and everyone's success is a result of her. So that was about it for this interview here, and I wanted to thank you very much, and thank you very much, and stay tuned for some more.